The following day, Ming made his way to his clinic, preparing to start his day, when Master Shen suddenly stopped him. He grabbed him by the shirt, pulling him close, his eyes locking onto Ming's with an intensity that made Ming's stomach churn. Panic surged through him as his voice trembled, insisting that he couldn't do this at his workplace. Master Shen ignored the protest, his gaze unwavering, and asked what was going on between him and Momo. Ming shook his head nervously, insisting that nothing was going on. Master Shen pressed on, telling him that Momo had been sad because of him, that her studies were slipping, and that she wasn't attending her classes properly. He asked Ming if he was responsible, if he was the reason his daughter's grades were falling and her mood darkening. Ming defended himself, saying he wasn't the one, that he had simply kissed her, nothing more. Master Shen stepped even closer, his voice firm, demanding confirmation. So it was true. He had taken advantage of his daughter's innocence and then discarded her. Ming froze, bewildered, insisting that it wasn't a violation, that it had been just a kiss. Master Shen shot back that to Momo. It was a violation. Leaning closer still, he told him that because he had kissed her, Momo now wanted to date him. Despite his timid and weak demeanor, Ming was smart, financially stable, and not a bad guy, Master Shen added, his tone leaving no room for argument. Starting today, he was Ming's father-in-law, and he expected him to take Momo on a proper date. Ming released himself from Master Shen's grip, looking at him with a mixture of disbelief and exasperation. He asked what kind of people they were, questioning their sanity. First, it had been Momo declaring herself his girlfriend, and now Master Shen was forcefully declaring himself as his father-in-law. Master Shen kept his gaze locked, asking if he objected. Momo was beautiful, he reminded him, and to reject her would be to declare her not good enough. Ming shook his head, stammering that it wasn't like that Momo was indeed beautiful. Master Shen's eyes narrowed, compelling him further, and he told Ming that if he thought that way, he should take her on a date. Leaning in closer, Master Shen's stare was unrelenting, warning Ming that if he objected, he would see just how frightening he could be. Ming, trembling slightly, nodded in agreement and said he would take her on a date. Master Shen instructed him to call her immediately. Ming grabbed his cell phone and dialed Momo's number. She answered right away, her excitement palpable, and Ming told her he wanted to take her on a date that evening. She agreed eagerly, promising she would be ready. After hanging up, Ming looked at Master Shen, reporting that he had done as instructed. Master Shen nodded, satisfied, telling him he would love Momo, that she was a lively girl, full of energy and spirit. Just as Ming turned to leave, Master Shen stopped him again. Ming turned back, confused, asking if Master Shen now wanted him to marry Momo as well. Master Shen chuckled, moving closer, and asked him about the blood samples he had taken of May and James's daughter, noting that it had been a long time and he had yet to report anything. Min kept his eyes on Master Shen, explaining that he hadn't been able to run some of the blood tests because didn't have the equipment to do so, and he sent the blood samples to a friend, a doctor overseas, who also got busy and perhaps had forgotten. He promised that now that Master Shen had reminded him, he would call his friend immediately to check on the progress. Master Shen nodded, telling him to do it as soon as possible. He handed Ming another blood sample, instructing him to send it to his friend as well, and to have it compared against the previous samples to see if the DNA matched. Ming looked at the blood sample in his hand, curiosity and caution mingling in his expression as he asked where it had come from and who it belonged to. Master Shen, with a faint chuckle, reminded him that just because he was now his son-in-law didn't mean he had the right to question him. He told Ming to simply follow his instructions, add the costs, and he would pay. With that, he placed the blood sample firmly in Ming's hand and walked away, leaving Ming standing there, watching him go, thinking about just how utterly crazy he was, just like his daughter. Master Shen got into his car and, as he started the engine, his cell phone beeped. He picked it up and saw a text from Amara. She had sent him a picture of herself on a plane, with a message claiming she had finally managed to break Liwei's heart and reminding him to keep his promise to rekindle things with Liwei. He looked at the picture, a soft murmur escaping him that she was a silly girl, and that he was doing all this to protect Liwei and her. With that, he drove off. Meanwhile, Liwei stepped out of the boardroom after a long meeting when Suri rushed up to him, catching up with his pace. She handed him a file, explaining that he needed to approve a trip for the marketing department. They were headed to Beijing for training. Liwei barely glanced at her, grabbed the file, signed it, and handed it back, walking away without a word. From behind, Fang appeared and stood beside Suri, smirking and asking how well her project of seducing Liwei was going. Suri, unfazed and irritated, shoved him aside and walked away, leaving Fang standing there, surprised and silent. Liwei entered his office and barely had a moment to sit before his cell phone rang. He saw Master Shen's name flashing on the screen, his heart pounding in his chest. He hesitated for a moment, collecting himself, and answered, trying to sound as normal as possible. Master Shen got straight to the point, telling him that they needed to meet and that he would send the location. Liwei agreed immediately, and as soon as he hung up, a text arrived with the meeting location. Without a second thought, he grabbed his keys and rushed out, his mind laser-focused, determined to finally see Master Shen and uncover once and for all whether he was the mastermind he had been searching for. Meanwhile, Amara arrived in Beijing for the boot camp, settling into the back of the Uber that was taking her to where her professor's son worked. Her mind drifted to Liwei, wondering if by now he had read the note she had left behind. She hoped it had done its job, broken his heart just enough to bring back the man he used to be, strong and determined, not the weaker version she had inadvertently created. Even though everything she had written was a lie, a carefully crafted way to help him. The thought of him being hurt gnawed at her, but she knew it was the only way. She promised herself she would tell him the truth once he completed his mission. The Uber arrived at an oncology hospital, where her professor's son, Dr. Zhang, was already waiting by the entrance. She stepped out immediately, and he approached with a warm smile, introducing himself and mentioning that he had heard a lot about her from his father. Amara smiled back, grateful she had made it. Dr. Zhang assured her that she would learn a great deal and that the boot camp had helped countless young people with dreams like hers. He explained that she would be staying in the doctor's residence alongside the other participants and offered to take her on a tour of the facility, confident that she would love it. He helped her with her luggage, and together they walked inside side by side. Meanwhile, Liwei pulled up to the location Master Shen had sent him. He sat in his car for a moment, taking a deep breath and bracing himself for whatever awaited him. After gathering his thoughts, he stepped out of the car and walked toward the man waiting there, already seated. Every step felt heavy with anticipation, a storm of questions burning in his mind. Was this the man sitting right there, the man who might have truly destroyed his life? The weight of that possibility pressed on him as he closed the distance, every nerve alert, every thought sharp and wary. Liwei approached the spot where Master Shen was seated and took a chair across from him, keeping his eyes locked on the man. Immediately, the urge to confront him surged, but he held himself together, careful not to raise any suspicions. Breaking the silence, he spoke, telling Master Shen that it was good to see him again after so long, and added that he was sorry for how things had ended the last time they met. Master Shen looked at him calmly, telling him that it was fine and that there was no need to dwell on the past. The most important thing, he said, was moving forward. Keeping his gaze fixed on Liwei, Master Shen told him that he was willing to continue working on the mission, and that during the time he had been away, he had uncovered a lot of evidence. Liwei said nothing, only watching him carefully, wondering if every word he spoke was a lie, a calculated attempt to deceive him, and questioning his true intentions. Master Shen, sensing the tension, asked if he was all right. Liwei snapped back that he was fine and, forcing himself to pay attention, asked about the evidence. Master Shen explained that he feared they had discovered he was working with him. After the protests, he had felt someone was following him, and there had even been a time when he returned home to find it seemed someone had been inside, searching for something. He added that he had erased every trace of his existence from online platforms and databases, yet somehow they had found him. If this so-called mastermind could track him down, it meant they were facing a formidable opponent, and they would need to brace themselves. One of the main reasons he had stepped away from the mission, he said, was to lay low. Continuing to meet would have increased the risk of exposure. Liwei's gaze sharpened, his mind refusing to trust a single word Master Shen said. Sensing his unease, Master Shen glanced at him again and asked if he was truly okay, noting that he seemed distant. Liwei cleared his throat, insisting he was fine, explaining that work had been exhausting. He added that he was glad they had rekindled things, and that he would focus this time. Standing up, he told Master Shen he needed to rest for a while, and promised they would meet later when he was less fatigued. With that, he walked away, leaving Master Shen watching him, quietly noting how odd his behavior seemed. Liwei returned home, his head spinning. The encounter with Master Shen, combined with the whirlwind of speculations in his mind, had shaken him. He needed to calm down, to find a moment of clarity, and the first step was a shower. Entering his bedroom, he paused by the bed and noticed a note lying there. He picked it up and examined it carefully. Liwei stood frozen, reading the note Amara had left behind. His expression slowly darkened, shifting into something colder, more dangerous, as he absorbed every word. His hands clenched the paper tightly, the edges crumpling under his grip. He read the lines over and over, letting each sentence sink in. She couldn't do this anymore. She needed peace, a life free from danger. She had thought she could handle his world, but she couldn't. She wanted someone different, someone gentle, not driven by vengeance, someone who smiled easily and made her feel alive again. She had met that person. She told him he deserved someone who understood his world, and she deserved someone who could love her softly. She begged him not to look for her. Liwei's chest tightened, each word tearing through him, breaking every fiber of his being. For a fleeting moment, his thoughts drifted to the pregnancy prevention pills and his assistant's warnings. It all clicked. That was why she had avoided getting pregnant, why she had asked all those questions about what would break his heart. She didn't want to be tied to him. He stood there, heart aching, staring at the note as the weight of her absence crushed him. Without hesitation, he rushed out, moving toward the secret room. As he entered, Yan's low, pained voice reached him, pleading for release. She was suffering. Liwei stopped in his tracks, his eyes dark, his expression icy. He told her that she didn't get to command him, that he would decide if and when she would be freed. With that, he strode into the next room. The man in the cage was there. Liwei's anger burned in his eyes as he pulled out his gun, aiming it above the man's head. The shot rang out sharply, startling him, and Liwei's voice cut through the air like ice. Today was the day he would die. Any last words? The man laughed, a harsh, mirthless sound, telling Liwei that he had been waiting for this day and was glad he had finally decided to end him. Liwei stepped closer, gun unwavering, and warned him not to get ahead of himself. His gaze burned into the man's, unyielding. "I know Master Shen is the one you've been protecting all this time," Liwei said, his voice cold and sharp. The man froze, his eyes unblinking, staring back at Liwei. But Liwei didn't look away, standing there, waiting, forcing him to slip, to reveal that Master Shen was indeed the mastermind behind everything.